Can I ask you a serious question? Do you ever have days where you just don't know what to draw? Yeah, me too. But good news, you just hit the jackpot. Welcome back to the Time Machine. I'm Harper, and today I'm doing prompt number 2 in the 100 Drawing Prompts Challenge, and so should you. So let's head over to the Random Prompts generator and choose a new prompt. Mystical Fruit Bowl of Destiny. Yes, I'm going to show that clip every time. And today's drawing prompt is... Last Rites of Last Night. Well, that sounds kind of spooky. Perfect for the beginning of the fall season. Let's get to it. Here we go, drawing prompt number 2 of 100. Only 98 left. No problem, dude. I got this. Let's start with some thumbnails to fire up the creativity in that wrinkled blob of pink meat between your ears. The first thing that popped into my head when I read this prompt was an album cover for a metal band, because Last Rites of Last Night would be a really cool title for it. But I just did a gig poster for the 1-hour challenge video, and I think those are too close to the same thing. By the way, you can watch me fail that challenge miserably at the link in the description below. And I'll come back to the album cover idea, because those are one of my favorite things to make. Next, I came up with the idea of a priest giving himself the last rites while facing his impending doom after a failed exorcism gone horribly wrong. And now these devil spirits are pissed off, and they mean business. The business of death. Ooh, spooky. The idea I had after that was a coven of witches around a boiling cauldron, murmuring incantations and spells over their bitch's brew. On a moonlit night in the silent forest, they chant and mix ancient ingredients for deadly recipes of foul curses and untimely demise. And then the witches gave me another idea. An image of a spooky secret club like in Stanley Kubrick's film, Eyes Wide Shut. They're an elite invite-only association like the Illuminati or Masons, but way darker. And like all secret clubs and groups, they're super ritualistic. Tonight, they're performing the End of Seven Summers ceremony, preparing for the coming darkness of fall and winter. Or some kind of bullshit like that, I don't know. It's not like I'm in a group like that. Anyway, I decided to go with the secret ceremony creeps for this prompt. So, through the magical power of my own imagination, I snuck into their forbidden lair and witnessed the wondrous horrors of their twisted ways, which I will now make real by putting what I saw down on paper for you to enjoy. And that's about it for the pencils. What do you say we move on to the inks? For the inks on this image, I decided to go with a Speedball brand dip pen. And as you'll see very soon, that was a terrible choice, and one that I and the pen nib will regret. Classic foreshadowing and doom. My go-to ink used to be the Winsor & Newton with the spider on the box, but I switched to Speedball Super Black a few years ago because it's cheaper and more local stores carry it. That's some sweet FYI right there. Okay, once again, the ink was too thick and it wasn't flowing for shit, and cleaning the nib every 5 seconds was getting old. Fighting this pen for every little line was starting to piss me off, and right about here is when I had had enough. Time to shoot myself in the foot and show this pen who's boss. Ah, that's better. Crack a beer, take a quick time out, and everything's all right. I popped the cap off of a .05 microline pen from the Studio series and picked up right where I left off. Pretty sure I'm not going to be using that nib ever again. Now get out of my face. Quick side note, while doing some in-depth wiki research on last rites, I read that one of the other prayers in Catholicism, sometimes mistaken for the last rites, is called the Sacraments of Penance. How awesome is that? Sounds like the new record from Lamb of God or Pantera. Or maybe it's the name of a cool new black metal band. Alright, next I moved on to my favorite Big Fat Fatty brush for some heavy ink on the cloaks and shadows. I didn't plan the light source very well, obviously, so it doesn't really make any sense. And we'll see more of that in the watercolor time-lapse coming up. This oversized beat-up brush is fun to use because you can get some great texture effects with it, and it's unpredictable. A veritable surprise around every corner. Hey, you know what would be really cool? If you wanted to try this prompt and then put a link to your artwork in the comments. No matter what your skill level is, I'd love to put your work in the next drawing prompt video. I mean, that'd be pretty awesome, right? No? Not really? Okay, moving on. So then I tried to cover up my little baby tantrum by blobbing a couple coats of gesso over the ink holes I made with that stupid pen. Looks like a bad Bondo job on an '87 Toyota Tercel, and the watercolor paint is never going to cover that up. Next, I added some fake cast shadows on the wall and built up the darks on the image with some Payne's Gray. It's a great color for shadows because it's a bluish gray and doesn't look dead like the standard gray can sometimes. Anyway, let's move on to the colors. I'm still using that same cheeseball student set from Michael's Arts and Crafts store. My first idea was to have all of the members of the group wearing the same masks. I thought it would be kind of like their uniform almost, but it looked a little boring, so I made the masks different but with the same colors and kind of the same shapes. I wonder what they're chanting. I wonder if any of these people feel just a little bit ridiculous all dressed up like a spooky team of part-time comic book villains. Nah, most of them probably get off on the sweet cosplay action. And who are they? I'm guessing 2 of them are bankers, one's an architect, there's at least 3 hedge fund managers, and the rest? They're all lawyers. So, after laying in the red and yellow, I did the first pass on the magical smoky stuff coming out of the sacrificial basin of skulls. And then added some green and yellow highlights on everything. So what other images do you think would be cool for this prompt? Go ahead, put your ideas in the comments. It's okay to participate. It doesn't mean you're not cool. How about a terrible breakup? The incident at the party last night was the death of their relationship. Dracula's birthday? Yeah, I don't know why I wrote that one down. How about a priest embedded with troops in frontline trench warfare? That's pretty heavy. How about a romantic sunrise? You know, like the sunrise symbolizing the death of last night, and maybe it was your first kiss, so that's the rites, or yeah, I don't know either. Next, I put some orange on the dark parts of all the yellow bits, so that together it would look like gold. Kind of. Finished up the leader's mask and then put a light green wash on the background. Of course, I had to use a toothbrush to flick some ink onto the mystical powers emerging from the basin of skulls. And speaking of mystical powers, next I painstakingly added a bunch of yellow and white fairy dust sparkles into the mix. It's actually pretty relaxing and cathartic to paint a ton of tiny dots for 10 minutes. Try saying that 10 times fast. Okay, let's add some more hot yellow to the bright spots on the floor and the figures to really boost that nonsensical, badly faked light source. Hey, that's a good idea. Let's try it. And some more little white dots because let's face it, can you really ever have enough fairy sparkles? The correct answer is hell no. A few brighter lights on the skulls real quick, and then some white outlines on the cloud of crap coming out of the altar of suburban darkness. To finish up this drawing, I'm going to ink back over some of the lines that were washed out by the watercolors, and then punch up the shadows on the back of this dude's mask. And there it is, prompt number 2 of 100, safely tucked away in the sketchbook for all time and eternity. Or at least until I die. Please stay tuned for a very special announcement in the close of this video. Coming up next, 10.8 APR on a 10-month lease with $3,700 due at signing. Some restrictions apply. Hey, thanks for watching today. I really appreciate it. Here's another serious question. How'd you like to have your work featured in the next drawing prompts video? You would? Super. Here's what you do. Just leave a link to your work in the comments below. And if you thought this video was pretty sweet, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more stuff like this, please subscribe to my channel. And if you do subscribe, make sure you hit that notifications bell, and that way you'll never ever miss another sketchbook video. Where? Right here on the time machine. See ya.